an echo in the canyon, a reflection on the sound. When I'm really looking, I can hear you all around.
Come on in, all you children, come on in around the fire. And children of all ages are welcome too. Please, I'm Frank. I'm glad to be back. Oh, how I've missed doing this. And I think you've seen a few old ones. They piped in. That was good. Monday nights at 8. Oh, how wonderful to be back with you here. This is a show for Christmas and Kwanzaa. Oh, and everyone out there, as long as you come in and remember something about childhood and join us around the fire. Ah, the art of poetry, music, song, lyrics, painting. We're joined by the spirit of Frida Kahlo, all the way from Tucson and Mexico. And there's a saguaro hugging itself over here by a wonderful artist who just happened to be opening her store after 25 years in business in Tucson. Madaris is her last name. And I couldn't resist. I have a book that has changed my life, and also the sequel, which is a book to open your heart. 10 poems. 10 poems that change your life, 10 poems to open your heart. And Roger Loudon, friend of Woody, my dearest friend in Clinton. Oh, and a poem can change your life. What have we got? What is it that flies free when the heart springs open? Love tumbles out in all of its colors. Tears flow for the sadness of the world. Joy pours forth in the embrace of a lover. A tiny wren becomes precious to our eyes. People in the street carry the same cross, the same beauty as we do. Life, God, call it what you will, is alive and well again. Every Christmas, for sure. And happy Hanukkah to all. It's late this year. It's like Christmas Day. Wow. But all together, we're alive and well again, and all things shall be well, whatever they are. When the heart opens, we forget ourselves and the world pours in. Ah, that's for poets, that's for songwriters, and that's for painters. Oh, speaking of painters, dear Lori, would you take a cameo walk over to the couch here? And I look forward to having you as a reading guest so often. And you make all the difference because you bring hope. Bring hope to me, bring hope to all of us out there who are gathered around the fire. By the timbre of your voice, it's transformative. I've heard you so many times now.
Thank you, Frank. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad. Merry Christmas early.
Merry Christmas early to you. And thank you for the gift that you gave me. A carry-on bag, and on it says hope. So it's...
From the heart to the heart.
And when I use it, I will always think of you.
and the hope you bring to us.
Thank you.
Well, what do you remember from childhood that has stayed with you either in a box or tucked away somewhere in the attic from childhood?
I have memories of Christmas, many Christmases, and it was always about not even so much the toys, but the people and the celebration. And you know, my grandparents walking through the door, the smell of mothballs meant my grandmother was here because her fur coats had the smell of mothballs. And
Smell first, right?
yeah, her banana pies, her, you know, her cookies, jelly-filled cookies that she made by hand that I try and do on a yearly basis in honor of her. But a toy that I do remember, my mother had given me, or Santa Claus had given me, a buffet set with little tea sets and china and, you know, knives and forks. And I remember delighting in like preparing this whole tea and having real tea, and until it was time to clean up, and then I wasn't so thrilled with that. That kind of resonates today. You know,
Nice.
my husband's constantly picking up after me. I make these great dishes, and he's on cleanup. So some things from childhood, you
And
know,
the tea
come
remains,
forward.
yes.
Yeah. So the child in me still remains.
That's a beautiful statement. I too remember having tea parties with my daughter. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We've lost through time, but also gained because there's a warm glow inside now enwrapping those presents. It's not the paper wrapper, but it's our heart's warm glow. Oh, I want to open with a poem, and you know her. She is going to be on the screen in a minute as Anne Marie. We'll pop her up. And this is our tried and true poet, laureate, magnificent lyrical poet who has set my heart moving like a metronome again. Mary Oliver.
I knew you were going to say that.
Sure you did.
I did. I knew she was coming.
She was coming because she's first of all things in 10 Poems to Open Your Heart by Roger Housden. And that little intro is to set up our emotions, I think, to be available and open to Mary because she touches our heart directly. She goes right to it. We had read before West Wind. Jump in with all your passion and commitment to life. Children, listen. What you love, you will be able to keep with you in many ways. So, we had West Wind, you are so young, you know everything, and so on. Now we go to Mary Oliver, part 2. And here she is. You don't have to be good. Children, did you hear that? You don't have to be good. You don't have to walk on your knees for 100 miles. No, you don't. And I'm not Santa saying this, but this is the poet saying it. You don't have to go 100 miles through the desert. I just came back. Repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Like that furry animal in childhood. Like Mama Doll for my wife Jane. Keeping it. Oh yeah, but the soft animal of your body, children, will tell you what you love, what your passions are. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. It does. Oh, the world cranking on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes. Oh, I wish I could have taken you to the desert with me. There's such a thing called walking rain, and it's only because the rain is so far in the distance that there's just a little line of clouds, and the rain appears to be walking across the flatland. Wow. Unforgettable. Yes. Meanwhile, skipping a little line here, you see the goose. But that's not a goose, children. That's a crane. And the cranes come all the way from Siberia to hibernate and rest in the flatlands and marshes outside Bisbee, Arizona. They're the Russian cranes that cross the North Pole and come, and if you're there at 6:30 in the morning, oh, how I wish I could.
Yeah.
I was 6:30 beside the pool watching the sunrise. The cranes, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, rise up into the morning sun at 6:30. That's their inner clock. And they go. Oh, the cranes are flying. Wow. And meanwhile, the cranes high in the clear blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination. Children, your most precious gift is your creative imagination. It will carry you through life. It will give you solace, but it'll give you the passion you need to develop your creative side. No matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild cranes, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. We're all part of the family of things. That's the child in me that really never was that expressive, quiet.
It's an interesting poem because, you know, it speaks to just being yourself. Like as adults, we tend to lose the freedom to be who we are, the freedom to
yes.
explore things. We lose our curiosity because we're told what to think and not how to think. You know, that comes along later on, but I think we initially start out like that.
Dear children, listen to the teacher.
The teacher.
She's really got it.
And part of it is never losing the child inside of yourself.
Oh, yes.
You know, and finding the joy in the simple things.
Oh, yes.
The sunrise, the sunset, a beach, you know, the crane.
The cranes.
You know,
Oh,
the flight
magnificence.
pattern.
Oh,
Noticing
yeah.
colors.
Yes.
The colors of the season. So all of that is still in there.
And the striations of rock, as you
Yeah.
pointed out.
Yes.
The rocks have different shades of color, so delicately.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Noticing colors, just staying curious.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a hard thing to do because as we get older, you start out as children. As we get older, we're. I think somebody's phone is going off. That's okay. You can turn it off. Go ahead.
Sorry about that.
I shut my phone off. So, I think in essence, well, Frank, you know, figures out his phone.
The laughter
essence,
from the office.
Don't lose the creativity within yourself. It's something we must hold on to. And let me see, how can I expand upon that thought?
Yes.
There are poems. My favorite poem, favorite books that are poems is Dr. Seuss.
Oh.
He always has great lessons to teach in a sing-songy, childlike fashion. But one of my favorite books is Oh, the Places You'll Go. And it's a wonderful story about growing up and keeping the child within you and exploring and being able to branch out.
Beautiful. How about the rainbow?
Sure. Okay. The rainbow. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began. So is it now I am a man. So be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is the father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. That's William Wordsworth.
Thank you. What is it about, and children, you know this intuitively, what is it about the rhyme and the rhythm of children's verse that stays with us all these years? Because it makes an imprint through our ears as well as our eyes. And
There's a rhythm to our life.
yeah.
They follow
Oh yeah.
a rhythm of their lives. They get up, they get dressed, they eat their breakfast, they go to school, they play with their friends. There's a time for this, there's a time for that. So there's a rhythm to their day, which creates the stability in their lives.
That's what we need, the stability,
Yeah.
the rituals of daily life, but also, hey, there's the seasons of a person's life, like the seasons of the year. Spring, fall, summer, winter. Happy solstice, by the way,
That's coming up soon.
very soon. And really, welcome in my grandson, who's a self-professed pagan. Oh, and he's having lots of issues in southern Ohio when people come up to him and say, Merry Christmas. And he says, and you know, happy holidays to you. And they said, what do you mean, happy holidays? You gotta, no, he says, I'm pagan. Oh, well, we have our rituals too.
Yeah.
But the seasons of a person's life follow the seasons of the year, if you look at it that way, poetically too.
Yep.
But the music in the children's rhymes are what stay with us. Do you have one from way back?
Not on me right now.
No, Mary, quite. You know, they're all there.
I love Dr. Seuss, but do I have him committed to memory? I don't.
No,
I'm sadly to say I don't have him committed to memory.
And that's what books are for, kids. Come to the library.
That's right.
Take out the children's books from the children's section of the library. Anyone you want. It's sitting there with rhythm and soul and ready for you.
Well, you gave me a book on the 5 love languages of children.
Yeah.
And, you know, as I read some of the excerpts, what stands out most to me, and I will read it, is positive affirmations. You know, you can never have too many positive affirmations over the negative ones, because
Yeah.
even if you're given 500 positive affirmations, we tend to hold on to the one negative I don't want to say affirmation, but the negative comment. We all tend to do that and discount all the positive ones. So for a child, the child only hears, you know, it hears both, but the ones that stick, unfortunately, sometimes are the negative ones.
Right.
So we always have to remember, when we're tired, when we're frustrated, when we're, you know, overwhelmed, you know, what we say has power. And speaking as a teacher, former teacher, you know, I had those days where I wasn't my best, you know, and you have to constantly take a step back before you say something that could impact the life of a child.
Great advice.
You know, and if I misspoke, I always apologized. Always publicly or privately apologized, because they're people. They're little people, but they're people. And And they're human beings with feelings, and we all have feelings.
Register everything.
Yeah.
The
So,
kids.
so this is what I want to read. It says, words of affirmation. Even though such words are quickly said, they are not soon forgotten. A child reaps the benefits of affirming words for a lifetime. Conversely, cutting words spoken out of short-lived frustration can hurt a child's self-esteem and cast doubts about his abilities.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes along with what I was saying, how important it is to raise each other up, you know, children, adults, because adults are just really a grown-up version of a child. We still, you know, we have life experience, but feelings,
Oh, yeah.
feelings, they carry long and they're deep.
And poetry primarily is about feelings, as well as music, lyrics, and
Expressions.
expression of paintings, you know? Wow. So my ears is remembering a poem by Emily. My life closed twice. It yet remains to see if immortality unveil a third event to me, so huge, so hopeless to conceive as these that twice befell. Parting's all we know of heaven and all we need of hell. In other words, if the person, speaker Emily, had actually lost two loved ones before, it felt like a dying. My life closed twice before its close. So, poetry can be about anything, about the life
Yes.
cycle, about birth, death, and all in between.
That's very true. And, you know, poetry it doesn't even have to rhyme.
No,
You
it
know,
doesn't.
poetry can be what you make it to be. It can be, a haiku is
Oh, yes.
4 lines, you know, 15 syllables.
Count them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Ooh, you can write them as a child.
that's it, you know?
Oh, yes.
And it's funny, it doesn't have to sound like the next person.
No.
You were reading something before where you said, you know, you don't have to crawl on your knees.
Yeah.
And which means you don't have to do things in order. You know, life
Right.
isn't linear.
It isn't.
It's not linear. It's, you know, we develop at certain times, we learn at certain times, our creativity comes along at certain times. And I have a grandson who's 9 months old, and the parents are concerned because he's not crawling yet. I said, that's because he's standing and he's getting ready to walk. You know, he blew away the crawling. He didn't see the need for it. And they were like, he's not doing this in order. And I said, he doesn't go in order.
Please tell them
Yeah.
that my daughter, at 11 months, did not crawl in a linear way, but like a crab, she went sideways.
So that just goes to show you, we're all different.
Oh, so different.
And we don't do things in a linear fashion, you know?
Or
And-
in lockstep.
Right. And I think a lot of disappointment comes from that feeling of it should be this
Oh, gosh,
way.
Yeah.
And it's not. Life is long and life can go around the circles and take circuitous routes, and
It's all good.
it's all good.
Oh, I'm reaching out to Jaron. Jaron, he's in the office outside of Tucson. Jaron, who works for UPS, and I went in there with my books, and I said, "Oh, can you help me with the newfangled machine?" Newfangled. Oh no, have I reached that age? And he said, "Sure, Jaron, out there, just outside Tucson in that UPS office, this is for you," because he said to me, "It's all good."
It's all good.
I left that office and it was all good. You know, it was done and I had the help I needed. Oh, yeah. We're going to take a break.
Okay.
How sweet. Thank you so very,
Thank you, Frank.
very,
Always a
very-
pleasure to be here.
Oh, but you've got the talent. Thank you. And the experience and the wisdom. You gave your heart to the kids today.
Well, they give it to me.
Don't they though?
Yes. It's not what you give, but you get back from kids.
Yes.
And this is the magical time of year that makes it so special. It's not so much the holidays, it's the kids and the magic of the holidays.
And the coming together as family.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. We are having a little break, I think.
One of the most common cons this time of year is the utility scam. A bad actor may call or text you claiming to be with the utility company and threaten to turn off your electricity, saying you haven't paid your bill. They may also try to steal your money and sensitive personal information through a fake home energy assessment. This ruse often includes a phony credit check, which requires you to hand over your banking information and even your social security number. They may claim they can save you money on your energy bills if you buy their discounted equipment, but all you'll get is a big credit card bill. Always check with your utility company before letting someone into your home. Even if they're wearing credentials, they may be fake. Also, utility companies won't call or text you out of the blue threatening to turn off the lights. And while they do energy assessments, you have to set them up ahead of time. They don't just send people knocking on doors. For more information on how to protect yourself, visit Better Business Bureau at bbb.org. And to report a scam, visit bbb.org/scam-tracker.
Back in.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Boy, you need no introduction, but I'm so pleased, happy, and thrilled that you're sitting next to me. To
Oh,
read some
absolutely. Anytime.
poems. Oh, Emily. Emily's our director of the whole shebang.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And Anne Marie is in there covering for a little bit. That's really sweet, Anne Marie. You're so technically with it. We have new pocket mics. Oh, Emily.
Yes. Lots of new things.
Lots of new things. And over the last several years, look at the transformation you've accomplished.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. As childhood was, did you keep anything from your toys or even books or anything that you remember putting in a safe place to keep?
Ooh, that's a great question. I kept a lot of my Barbies.
Did ya?
Yes, I have a lot of my Barbies from when I was little. I also kept some of my Little Ponies, if you remember those.
I do.
One of my favorite books growing up was The Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle.
Oh, he's such a big name.
Yes, those are one of my favorite books.
Oh, wow. And did you ever have poetry in the early grades?
Oh, yes.
You did. Oh, that's wonderful to hear.
Yes.
Poetry's out there in the early grades. There's visiting poet programs in the schools. So it's about exposure to the sound and the music behind poetry that's so captivating for kids.
Absolutely.
And yeah, the Cat in the Hat, and you got a great hat on. Who's on it? Rabbit?
Yeah, just some bunnies.
I like it.
Thank you.
And you're a sight reader, and you're great at it. You have to be because you got the camera going all the time.
Oh, yes.
Give us the joy of your voice.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to read a poem here called The Rainbow. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began? So is it now I am a man? So be it when I shall grow old or let me die. The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety.
Thanks. That's another rendition of the same poem because my heart leaps up is the operative line. It's that opening up that we talked about at the beginning of the show, that Emily, hey, you're in good,
Different Emily.
You're in good company. Yeah, you're in great company. Yeah, she's marvelous too in such a way. And what else do you have for us?
Let's see. The world is too much with us.
Oh, this is so deep.
The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon, the sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours, and are upgathered now like seeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. It moves us not. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. So my eye, standing on this peasant lea, have glimpse that would make me less forlorn, have sight of Protus rising in the sea, or heard Triton blow his wreathed horn.
The world is too much with us. And consumerism is rampant. It has taken over the airwaves, and somehow we've surrendered and let it. Whereas the advice is to stop. Stop and look and savor the moment.
Absolutely. Live in the moment.
Live in that moment. Poetry has so much wisdom, a lot of it between the lines, which means you have to stop and ponder
Absolutely.
and let it sink in. What's there? Oh, that's a long one. Let's skip that.
Let's skip that one.
Oh, how
Ooh.
about the owl and the pussycat?
The owl and the pussycat.
Oh, I think we're in for rhyming and yeah.
Ooh. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money, wrapped in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh, pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, you are. Pussy said to the owl, you elegant fowl. How charmingly sweet you sing. Oh, let us be married, too long we have tarried, but shall we do for a ring? They sail away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows, and there in a wood a piggy wig stood, with a ring at the end of his nose, with a ring at the end of his nose. Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring? Said the piggy, I will. So they took it away, and we were married the next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mice and slices of coats, which they ate with a spoon. And hand in hand on the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon. The moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon. I like that one.
That's a beauty. You did a great job. And the
Awesome.
rhythm, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But oh, the owl and the pussycat, they had some fun.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Thank you very much
Absolutely.
for your long-awaited cameo.
Absolutely. It's been coming.
It's been coming. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's it. The rhythm. Da 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 da. Your feet will start tapping, and you may even start dancing. Mr. Mike. Yeah. You're the man with the voice, man.
Hello, Frank.
Whoa, we got a baritone you're not going to believe. And when it comes
Well,
through,
I'll save that voice for another time.
oh, but the poet's voice.
That's right. I
You
have a
will
different voice today.
You will channel the poet's voice
Absolutely.
and the sound and the music and the rhythm and the poetry. Wow.
So I have the preface to this book, which is 101, not Dalmatians, but famous poems. So this is written by the editor.
Good.
It says, "This is the age of science, of steel, of speed and the cement road. The age of hard faces and hard highways. Science and steel demand the medium of prose. Speed requires only the look, the gesture. What need then for poetry? Great need. There are souls in these noise-tired times that turn aside into unfrequented lanes, where the deep woods have harbored the fragrances of many a blossoming season. Here, the light, filtering through perfect forms, arranges itself in lovely patterns for those who perceive beauty."
Great intro. That says so much, doesn't
Kind of
it?
speaks to what you and Lori were talking about.
Yeah.
Where we need to slow down.
Oh, yeah. And not pass by the beauty that's offered by the world.
Yeah, and as Lori said, Christmas is a great time to do that, or the holiday
Oh,
season.
thank you. That's
Look at these colors. Look at that beautiful fire.
right on. To take the time.
Yeah, many of us don't,
We don't.
and many of us do.
Do you feel some of the emanation of the hug from that Saguaro next to you?
Absolutely, it's absolutely beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful place on earth too. It really is.
It's gorgeous. And kids watching of all ages, give yourself a hug for a minute. You know, let it happen. Give yourself a hug for Christmas. Yes. Oh,
Word.
word. And I love your color today, which somehow
Yeah, I sort of have the color of the sunrise, the desert.
you do. And see that orange there? And Lori, yeah, there's so many different shades.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and there's so much color and different scenery in that part of the world too. You know, you have mountains, you have desert, you have oasis.
I'm sharing with you a transformational time in my life, and that was the
Isn't that neat?
desert. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, we should all have time away and just to sit.
And have that luxury, though,
Yeah,
according to our modern life, you know?
yeah. Well, you had mentioned that you've done some writing now. You've had some time to just
Thank you.
be.
And the writing came back, and won't it be fun to share some of the journal?
That would be neat,
I leave it open. Who's peeking?
right? Yeah. Well, you open yourself up when
You
you do. That too.
do.
And that's like songwriting.
It's like your songs.
Yeah, and I need quiet time to do that, and that's fortunately I have some of that time now. So I've been doing more songwriting than any other time in my life.
Glad to hear that, Mike.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yesterday I finished a song that she better not be watching it, but I'm going to play at my daughter's wedding. So, hopefully dance to her with it. But so it's a work in progress. But it's I've got the framework and it sounds pretty good so far.
And it's yours.
And it's mine. Yeah,
Oh.
just like your writing. It's a peek into your soul.
It's certainly a peek in the soul
So-
to be able to share that.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yep.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
You know,
She
that's-
can't watch this now.
No. Till after. When's the wedding?
It's in September, so we've got a little time. I can perfect it, if that's the word.
Keep
although
this
there's
show
no
under
perfection.
wraps.
Right, exactly. I won't share it. So,
Good for you.
yeah, it's exciting. So what do we have up next?
Whatever.
Let's talk about Christmas.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay, this is by Phillips Brooks on the mid to late 1800s. Christmas everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere, Christmas tonight. Christmas in lands of the fir tree and pine. Christmas in lands of the palm tree and vine. Christmas where snow peaks stand solemn and white. Christmas where cornfields stand sunny and bright. Christmas where children are hopeful and gay. Christmas where old men are patient and gray. Christmas where peace, like a dove in its flight, broods over brave men in the thick of the fight. Everywhere, everywhere, Christmas tonight. For the Christ child who comes is the master of all. No palace too great, no cottage too small. Yeah, Christmas isn't just for kids.
No. But you know, Mike, it's so personal in a way because you are such an accomplished songwriter. You could actually critique the lyrics of this poem.
Well, there's a technicality to it, but there's the
Fascinating.
feeling. There's the
a
feeling.
It is the feeling, and it's also the rhythm. See, you read with a wonderful rhythm.
Right, yeah,
It's the music behind it.
there's a strong rhythm to this one. Yeah, and it's, and this one has rhyming, and, and not all poetry does, not all songs do.
No.
So yeah, I mean, it flows very easily, and the topic is easy to grasp. That's the other part. This is a pretty straightforward poem.
Thanks. You're my mentor for lyrics and how songwriting.
We have another
is
guy
done.
behind the camera for that too.
Yeah. Captain Mike, you're gonna do it one of these days. January, maybe. Thank you so much, Captain Mike. He's behind one camera, Lori, and they're changing off today. What a wonderful,
We've got the whole family here.
the whole family for the whole family.
That's it. It's wonderful.
How about another one?
Sure. I have Little Boy Blue.
Oh, yeah.
That's again, it's from the mid to late 1800s. Eugene Field is the author.
We
the little-
all remember that somehow, don't we?
Yes,
Even if it's just a snippet. Little Boy
absolutely.
Blue.
Yeah, we grew up with it.
Okay.
The little toy dog is covered with dust, but sturdy and staunch he stands. And the little toy soldier is red with rust, and his musket molds in his hands. Time was when the little toy dog was new, and the soldier was passing fair. And that was the time when our little boy Blue kissed them and put them there. Now don't you go till I come, he said, and don't you make any noise. So toddling off to his trundle bed, he dreamt of the pretty toys. And as he was dreaming, an angel song awakened our little boy Blue. Oh, the years are many, the years are long, but the little toy friends are true. Aye, faithful to little boy Blue they stand, each in the same old place, awaiting the touch of a little hand, the smile of a little face.
Yeah.
And they wonder, as waiting these long years through in the dust of that little chair, what has become of our little boy Blue since he kissed them and put them there?
And where are they now?
Where are
Those
they
little
now?
toys, right?
Yeah,
We've been
yeah.
talking about that all day. Do you have a childhood box or something?
Well, I have it for my kids.
Do ya?
Which they got to get out of the house soon. But not so much for me. I have such fond memories of the holidays of Christmas time.
Oh, yeah.
I had 2 brothers, 2 sisters. We're all pretty close in age, and
yeah.
so we have a lot of shared memories there. My parents made it special with whatever they had, and it was neat. Nothing really comes to mind in terms of what I've kept. I collected coins when I was 11, 12, 13, and I still have those. Those weren't so much gifts, but I think maybe a few of them were.
Yeah.
But for my kids, I have a lot of their childhood toys or collectibles, which are worth nothing, but mean something to them.
Yeah.
And so I keep them hoping that that someday they'll have those memories, and it's kind of neat.
Kind of neat. Embodied in the memento, the actual physical
Yeah.
toy.
A little bit of the Velveteen Rabbit comes to mind on this, a little bit where something special that maybe wasn't special to anybody else,
Yes.
became special to that
Oh,
little
good
child.
one. Good one.
Yeah, there's a little something there.
I love your reading voice.
So-
What else is there?
Let's see. We have The Day Is Done by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Again, he was there in the 1800s. And
Big name.
He's still his prose is still popular today.
Oh, for sure.
The day is done, and the darkness falls from the wings of night. As a feather is wafted downward from an eagle in his flight, I see the lights of the village gleam through the rain and mist, and a feeling of sadness comes over me that my soul cannot resist. A feeling of sadness and longing that is akin to pain, not akin to pain, and resembles sorrow only as the mist resembles the rain. Come, read to me some poem,
Yeah.
some simple and heartfelt lay that shall soothe this restless feeling and banish the thoughts of day. Not from the grand old masters, not from the bards sublime, whose distant footsteps echo through the corridors of time. For like strains of martial music, their mighty thoughts suggest life's endless toil and endeavor, and tonight I long for rest. Read from some humbler poet,
Yeah.
whose songs gush from his heart,
Yeah.
as showers from the clouds of summer or tears from the eyelids start. Who through long days of labor and nights devoid of ease still heard in his soul the music of wonderful melodies. Such songs have power to quiet the restless pulse of care and come like the benediction that follows after prayer. Then read from the treasured volume the poem of thy choice and lend to the rhyme of the poet the beauty of thy voice. And the night shall be filled with music, and the cares that infest the day shall fold their tents like the Arabs as they silently steal away.
That's you, Mike, that
It's
poet.
people that are writing from the heart. They're speaking from their heart.
Every day, not the high and lofty.
Right.
Give me the everyday poet
Yeah.
and everyday poem
Yeah.
to feel the
Yeah,
solace.
we have friends that write songs and you listen to the lyrics and
Yeah.
it's poetry.
Yes.
But they speak to you.
Yeah.
You know, and I could read Robert Frost and that can speak to me and
Yeah.
Henry Wadsworth Longfellow can speak to me. But the ones I really connect with are those, I'm going to say local songwriters.
Your
even,
fellow poets.
Our fellow poets and songwriters, yeah.
Oh, Mike,
Yeah.
How
they're the
wonderful.
they're the everyday experiences.
I'm with you.
So,
Thank you so very
beautiful.
much.
Sure. Thanks,
Now,
Frank.
If
I
you would
appreciate
just tap Lori on the shoulder.
absolutely.
She'd be
I
next.
will give her a gentle tap.
This is a family affair, folks.
All right, this is more stories Julian tells.
And we are honoring Nikki Giovanni, the premier African American female poet who just passed away last week at 81. Nikki Giovanni, she went toe to toe with James Baldwin, African American, brilliant novelist, and sometime poet too. And that interview on PBS was powerful. She's such a wonderful grandma poet who's lived a long life, and boy, she was true to herself and honest. And in her spirit, we have a little book here about everyday life, and it's called
A Day When Frogs Wear Shoes. My little brother, Huey, my best friend, Gloria, and I were sitting on our front steps. It was one of those hot summer days
Yeah, put
When-
yourself back there in summer.
when everything stands still. We didn't know what to do. We were watching the grass grow. It didn't grow fast. You know something, Gloria said? This is a slow day. It's so slow the dogs don't bark, Huey said. Oh, it's so slow the flies don't fly, Gloria said. It's so slow. Ice cream wouldn't melt, I said. If we had any ice cream, Huey said. But we don't, Gloria said. We watch the grass some more. We better do something, I said. Like what? Gloria asked. We could go visit Dad, Huey said.
Oh.
That's a terrible idea, I said. Why? Huey asked. I like visiting Dad. My father has a shop about a mile from our house where he fixes cars.
Oh,
Usually it is fun to visit him. If he has customers, he always introduces us as if we were important guests. If he doesn't have company, sometimes he lets us ride in the cars he puts up on the lift. Sometimes he buys us treats. Huey, I said, usually visiting Dad is a good idea. Today, it's a dangerous idea. Why? Gloria said. Because we're bored. I said. My dad hates it when people are bored. He says the world is so interesting, nobody should ever be bored. Oh, I see, Gloria said, as if she didn't. So we'll go see him, Huey said, and we'll just won't tell him we're bored. We're bored, but we won't tell him. Just so you remember that, I said. Oh, I remember, Huey said. Huey was wearing his angel look. When he has that look, you know he'll never remember anything. So that's just a little excerpt from a story.
yeah. And show the picture of Dad's shop.
Well, it's a sign. Okay, and it says Ralph's Car Hospital. Punctures, rust, dents and bashes. Bad breaks, usual complaints.
Now, do you remember your childhood father's job or place of business? Did you ever get to go there and visit your father at work?
I know I did.
Did you really?
He worked in computers, and at that time, the computers were all in a room, and they were the size of like 8-foot walls. And it had an air conditioner going on, but they were floor-to-ceiling computers. And they whirred and whirred and whirred, and I remember looking at these giant megaliths.
Oh, yeah.
And
How old were you?
oh, I had to be about 8 years old.
Wonderful.
8 or 9. So I remember it was, you know, we went to work to visit what he did, and he showed us around. And now we have those, we carry our computers with us, our telephones. They're everything to us, and they fit in the size of our palm. From going something like a wall, like these partitions, these beautiful partitions behind us, to going to a handheld device.
And it struck, didn't it, that memory? Thank you.
Yeah.
Very grateful for that. Children, ask your dad, can you go to work with him one day? Oh, gosh, that'll stay with you. Thank you all. Thank you. Laurie, Captain Mike, oh, Mr. Mike Fox, and the baritone voice, oh, ladies behind the camera, Emily, special guest. What a show. It was fun.
It was.
And I felt like a child again. And wish I had turned my phone off.
Well, that's something kids do too. They forget to turn their telephones off
Okay.
in school.
Yeah.
So it was an honor. And it's a great season to celebrate children.
And family. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again in January. Hug somebody next to you. Right now. Yeah.
If I'm gone tomorrow and you hear this song today, just remember there is love for you in every note I play. There's an echo in the canyon, a reflection on the sound. When I'm really looking, I can hear you